I love your t-shirts.
Thank you. Thank you. I think this is the best message for today for people to come out and vote.
Okay. Why? Why is that important?
Where there's a lot going on, not only in the country, but in New York. So it's very important that everyone comes out, express their feelings, be angry if you must, but you have to choose your politicians.
Yes.
You know, what are some of the characteristics, the qualities that you look for in the candidates that you voted for today?
I think first would be serving the people, a selfless politician. There's a lot that needs to be done for the people, and this candidate must address a lot of inequalities, diversity, someone who will diversify and really taking care of the communities. Of course, there's the crime, there's all sorts of issues, and we're still going through the pandemic. So we need someone who's not only experienced, but who really cares about the people.
You mentioned that you work in organizations that
I
deal
do.
with women issues.
Yes.
So I have to ask you regarding the recent ruling from the Supreme Court, the U.S. Supreme Court. Can you tell me your view and how this will impact organizations like yours and other global organizations?
Well, on a personal basis, which to me actually this comes very close to being personal to a lot of women, mothers, daughters, and even husbands and men in general, right? It's very personal to me because I have a story. I am one of those women that will be put in that situation where you'll be faced with a lot of conflicts. People in your community, I was lucky to have that access. Being in New York City, I had that access, but not a lot of women will do. And this is a very, very dangerous ruling. We are talking deaths. We are talking all sorts of dangerous issues that I wish the Supreme Court would have considered. How it affects my organization, that part I cannot answer. But I can tell you that everybody will have the same sentiments.
And you know, the impact of it on not just the US, the global community in general that support women.
Yes.
Because, you know, what happened in New York, in the US doesn't stay in the US.
It does not. This is one world. There's a ripple effect. And again, this is not about just women's issue. This affects men. This affects everyone. So it's really about not violating women's rights. That's number one to me. And I have to mention that I'm a Catholic. But I do value the choice that I will have or every woman should have. We should not be dictated on what we should do with our bodies.
I guess the other thing is we're talking about this. There are issues in New York that need to be addressed. So as you mentioned, there are a lot of things.
Yes.
So what are some of the top issues that you would like your assemblymen, your local officials, the city, and also the state to handle?
What affects me the most? I'm in the food industry, a minority, a woman. This is a man-dominated industry. When I was in the restaurant business, I saw the inequality. I saw food insecurity during the pandemic. There were over apparently 2 million people that went hungry. So to me, this is something we need to pay attention to.
Food security.
The food security. It is hard to comprehend how New York, it's so rich. but we have people going to bed hungry. So this is first in my mind that should be addressed. The crime. I'm Asian. I'm afraid to go to the subway. So it's very personal.
I can see you're almost tearing up just saying that.
Because this affects everyone. And I know we have a lot of issues, but I think if politicians want to grow the city, you have to tackle these problems first. And I think that's the only way for New York to prosper.
And you know, with what you just mentioned about the attacks on Asian American, on the Asian community, they're not just the only one. Immigration has become a hot topic in every election since. Before the former president was in office, but it became more of an outer topic when he came into the office. So, what would you like the government to do? We have the DACA program that is still being debated in Congress.
It's been very unstable.
And, you know, like, despite what the current administration is still doing, there's still a lot of issues with within the Latin American, and immigrants are being blamed for everything that is wrong with the country. As an immigrant, talk to me about that.
As an immigrant, I would hope that we elect the right people, the right administration to deal with these problems. Someone who knows about foreign policy, someone who has the heart, someone who believes in diversity. That this is not just United States for Americans. We thrive, we prosper when we have different people from all walks of life coming together. That's what I think, and that should start when you elect the right people. This is why I am here today, hoping to make a little change, but I believe change should start somewhere.
They said that charity begins at home.
Charity begins at home.
So
yes.
Thank you very much for talking to me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
You just voted.
Yes.
Could you tell me whether it's Republican or Democrats?
I'm a Democrat.
You're a Democrat. What are some of the top priorities on your mind?
A woman's right to choose, reproductive health, immigration, gun safety.
In that respect, immigration and gun safety. Can you talk about immigration? What would you like the next governor to do? Or the federal government?
Well, we need a system that will process humanely the people who come to our border while we're figuring out how to make life safe enough in their countries so they don't need to leave them.
And on the Supreme Court recent ruling, could you share your opinion about that?
It's a totally unprecedented, inconceivable, and devastating, and disgusting, and political, and inappropriate, etc.
And what would you like, as a Democrat, what would you like your party to do more?
We need to elect more of us so that the rights of women and LGBT and minorities will be respected in policy.
Do you think the federal government is doing the right thing right now? The Obama administration, Biden administration.
I know where you are. Well, they're doing the right thing, but since the whole Republican Party seems to be dedicated to resisting the agenda, it's very difficult to accomplish what we believe needs to be accomplished for the public.
You voted in Brooklyn.
Yes.
Did you vote today? Was that today or
No,
early
I voted
voting?
last Sunday.
Last Sunday.
Yes.
Okay. Why did you decide to vote early?
Because it was more convenient, and I'm not sure if it was going to be a rush today. And since we have the option of voting the days now, it makes it easier. So I just chose the day and went.
Okay. And can you tell me what are some of the issues that are important to you
I think some of the issues are the issues with guns, the issues with, well, I don't want to say abortion. That is important, but that just happened recently. So that happened since I voted. The issues with guns, the issues with education, especially education in poor neighborhoods where you get a budget based on, the budget for the school is based on the income in the school, which means that kids who live here in the Upper East Side have more benefits in education than the kids who live in my neighborhood in Flatbush Avenue. So that's something of concern to me, and I hope the government will change that. I also was concerned about guns and also about abortion before when Governor Hochul made it New York as like a sanctuary, a safe where people can come. And I'm also interested in immigration. And I see that New York is still a sanctuary for immigrants, so that's very important to me.
So let's talk about, you mentioned immigration.
Yes.
You mentioned education.
Yes.
You're a student at Hunter College.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk about more about what would you like the next, either governor, the Democrat, Governor Oku, or the next New York governor? What would you like them to do, and what would you like the federal government to do?
Well,
as you mentioned, like depending on the neighborhood,
yes,
the education.
yes,
is,
that's very important to me. That Governor Hochul, I think Governor Cuomo and Mayor De Blasio had worked together and had universal pre-K where kids can go to school from 3 and 4. So that was really, really very important, because we had lots of kids, especially from poor neighborhoods, going into school not prepared for school and failing. You get a kindergarten, you don't know your ABCs, you're failing. So I'm hoping that Governor Hochul is aware of the discrepancies in New York City in education and do something about it. I think the current mayor is aware of it, so I hope that she can do something about it.
So you're hoping the current mayor and Governor Oku,
yes,
if he get elected,
yes,
that can
yes,
really support
education. That's like high school, elementary education in New York City as a South. So it can be level for the kids who live in Upper East Side and the kids who live in Bed-Stuy, so they can have an equal balanced field, not because their parents make different money, that that their education should be affected by that. And if we here at colleges, I know when our country was poorer, lots of people got to go to school free. So now that it's wealthier, we should have the opportunity to continue our education, even if you have to pay a minimum fee, like, I don't know, just a minimum fee is okay, but I think that students should be really able to go to school and not step out of, especially a 4-year college, owing like $20,000 or whatever people do. I think there should be some help in that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
You
Because
mentioned
everyone doesn't get financial aid. You have to be very poor to get financial aid.
to get financial aid.
Yes.
You mentioned you're a history major.
Yes.
Given, I just have to ask you, given the current new rulings with the Supreme Court, as
Yes.
you mentioned, what is your view, not just on Roe versus Wade, on guns? What is your view? Where do you think our country, not just with the Supreme Court, with the government, and with the society where it seems so polarized, where do you think we are?
I think one of the things about it really tells you that America is a democracy, because a lot of things that are happening now in America could not happen in other countries, because if there weren't true democracies, like America is really a democracy. I mean, you have the Supreme Court voted against Roe versus Wade, and you have people come in the street and they're protesting against it, and there's a possibility that it can be changed. Like people are working in their own states, because even though it was federal, each state still have an opportunity to implement it or not implement it. So I still think it's a democracy. I'm also concerned about the guns that the Supreme Court voted the day before to make it easier to have access to guns, and then the next day they voted about abortion. It seems like one, guns take life, and You give people opportunity to have guns any age. I don't think an 18-year-old, I don't even think a person should have an assault weapon. What do you want an assault weapon for? You're not at war. And so I think having those two things happening is in the Supreme Court is really interesting. Also, I think America is such a great country with great people and brilliant people happening that they will not allow America to lose its democracy. The people themselves, the people, you, me, this man on the corner, this person selling stuff, especially people who come from a different country and know what freedoms exist in America, that America is not going to lose the democracy. Even though it might look like that, the people are holding on, and it will turn around, because that's how history works. So I am not like fearful that we will wake up one morning and we won't be a democracy, or there will be a military coup. We know that won't happen. I'm not fearful about that, because the people collectively themselves, they know what type of society they want to live in, and they're not going to lose it.
So you believe in American democracy?
Yeah, I believe in democracy, and I think all these students here, these young people here, they know rights. They know what rights they have, especially many of them are immigrants, and their parents told them, so here's the opportunity and you're not going to lose it. You know, that's the whole concept of going to college. If you go to this college or any college and then you allow your country to lose its democracy, then it's a waste of time, because you're learning to change, you know, to make it better. So that's how I feel. I'm not concerned. It may look like it will happen, but it's not going to happen.
But you're not concerned.
No, because they have too many people, not even you and I, too many wealthy people who know if it become an authoritarian country, what they're going to lose. So they did not want to lose that. Yeah. So that's my confidence in that. And then the regular people on the street who are not going to, you know, like Black Lives Matter. So how people got up and protest in the middle of a pandemic, people will do it again.
and they in order to save the democracy.
Huh?
I said in order to save American democracy.
Yes, yes.
Thank you so much for talking to me.
Okay, take care.
Thank you.
Okay.
You just voted.
Yes.
Okay. What brought you? What are some of the top priorities on your mind today?
The health of the city, particularly caring for people who are without homes, without economic advocates, who don't have access to the levers of power in the system. I wanted to make sure I turned out to vote against Kathy Hochul, because I don't think we need any more Cuomo-style politics in New York.
So, how was the process?
It was okay.
I mean, the redistricting, there have been some issues, some voters were turned away.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming you went
It was
in.
clearly messy. And it was frustrating because I've worked as a polling worker at this location, and like 7 people vote here. And so it was frustrating that with such a small number of voters using this location, it could still be so poorly managed.
Okay. I guess my other question to you is regarding the new ruling.
The new what?
The Supreme Court.
Oh, yes.
Can you talk about that?
Sure. Basically, all of the rulings that came down from the Supreme Court last Friday were a real assault to our basic freedoms and bodily autonomy. The fact that, you know, cops are no longer required to tell people their rights when they arrest them, and yet the right is still somehow extant. Horrifying that Alito would use the fact that New York's gun control laws didn't prevent the attack in Buffalo as a reason that they should be struck down. He has the judicial mind of a child. And then you get to the idea that a woman does not have the right to make choices for her own body. And that the people who are writing these laws and making these choices are not only doing so from a position of control that is inappropriate for the government to have, they're doing so without even committing to learning the basic facts of a woman's body and the things that happen in pregnancy. Depending on where you live, you could have a pregnancy with a very much wanted child. Something could go wrong, and you could not get life-saving care. So this is not just about, oh, if people don't want babies, they shouldn't have sex. This is the fact that, like, women will die of wanted and unwanted pregnancy, and it is stoppable, and the fact that we choose not to is horrendous.
Do you think, I mean, obviously a lot of people are saying that because of what happened in 2016, the election of Donald Trump brought in this. Do you agree with that?
Yes and no. I think Trump's election was the nail in the coffin, but the right has been very committed to the process of hijacking the judiciary for the entirety of my lifetime. And they have had a single-minded focus in a way that people all over the left just lack. And so we just don't have the same discipline as the evil people. And I say all this as a Christian and an ordained member of the Christian clergy, and that if we want people to respect life, I don't see how any of the rulings that have just come down from the Supreme Court have anything to do with respecting life and respecting persons.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.